my past, my projection into my future has become wobbly, that at some very microscopic level, the nervous system has been altered in all living beings. And this is the fundamental change that's going on now. It's experienced as being more in the present and being less sure of the past and its projection into what you had thought was the foreseeable and predictable future. Then secondarily, because of the isolation, in addition to the shakeup of the nervous system, everybody's unfaced parts of their own mind is becoming more conscious. The essential thing is fear of death. To the extent that a person has transcended their fear of death, they're not worried. Like yours truly over there in the corner.
Her too.
Hers is different. Her being is incredibly consolidated, but her mind hasn't let go of the playing with the idea of death as much as yours. And maybe that's just the way the female mind goes. People's attachments, it's like whatever their unfinished business is boiling up. The guys who have all these Save the World fantasies are putting out so many videos and so many, mass posts and such, that everybody's complaining about their post box and their messenger box being full of well-wishing videos that they didn't ask for. And meanwhile, over on the other side, the conspiracy theorists are having a field day. They're blaming the Chinese, the Americans, the Martians, anybody you can find.
That's true.
So it's a time of profound change, moving more towards what we imagine is reality. It's never going to be the same again, is my feeling.
I agree with that totally.
That the ruptures in the global economic system that were always there are becoming painfully obvious. Where mankind's going to go between kumbaya and killer motherfuckers, I'm not sure. My deepest feeling about that is unless there's a radical transformation in consciousness, the powerful will kill the weak in one way or another and take whatever remains to survive.
So
the costumes on this may not be the usual old-fashioned military genocide, but it will be starvation. I've been reading these stories that my sister sent me by this 19th century Jewish writer, I.L. Peretz. And they're set in Poland near the German and Swiss border in the late 19th century, or the guy died in like 1918. And these stories are so personal that you not only see the poverty in which the people live, the continuous persecution, the conscription to go away and be killed in a war that, anyhow, but also the mental constriction from the old ways of believing, of doing family, of following the Bible, Torah. And mankind today is gone through such a transformation psychically in the past 100 years. There's not a country in the world, not Iran, not Pakistan, not Saudi Arabia, not China, where women's liberation isn't a real thing.
Yep.
And that's the tip of the iceberg of the transformation of human consciousness. So where that's going to play into how we get through this prolonged crisis, I don't know yet. Samantha has some really scary predictions. But all I know is that the more I can relax and be in the present and celebrate right now, better it is. That there's no point in my worrying now about an imaginary then, especially since the thens have become less and less predictable.
Yeah.
And I realize I've been preparing for this since I freaked out about the limits to growth in 1970.
Yes.
That literally, I've spent 50 years learning how to deal with unpredictable, but for sure definite, profound changes. So that's the essence of my story, guys. And anything you want to say about your stories, I'd love to hear it. Anything you want to comment on my story, I'd love to hear that too.
Bodhicitta, do you want to go?
Yeah, I was going to sing a song. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. There's my song.
I had a song come to me in the hot tub the other day. I'm Bodhicitta, man. I am what I am, what I am. Whatever you see is your dream of me. Wake up and see what I am.
That's a good one.
So that's one of the mysteries of what's happening, is that what I manifest depends on who's there and what they're ready for. I made a little video that this guy, Charles Patty, who I work with, asked me to make for his group, Only Positive Vibes, went out to 6,000 people. And I was more clear and eloquent about the essential teachings and what to do right now and how to relax and not give such a big fuck about it than I've ever been.
Yeah.
It's like who I am depends who's there. And I'm amazed at some of the guys who come out. And that's part of the release from the bondage of past memory.
And here's why. Because when you end this world and there's no more bodhicitta, you'll look it down, and this is how it's going to work. Is your mind will turn off, and then you'll realize, oh my God, I've always been the all and the everything. I've never been anything else. Because the mind, which is it's like your refrigerator, it uses all the energy in the house. And it does. And when that stops, you're going to be very aware of that, right? And then the thing that comes, and fear's going to come, make no mistake, it's going to come for you. And it's going to come for you, not like, oh, the boogeyman is here, not like that. It's going to come for you and it's going to present something to you so compelling. Because you have to look at this life and you go, oh, it is so compelling. The mind is so controlling, and you're having this maneuver and you're looking at the world like this, and it's really desirable. And you're not going to, Glenn had no issue facing it. I didn't have any issue facing it. Samantha didn't have an issue facing it. And Michelle didn't have an issue facing it. And what happens is you get presented with all the things you want in the package called fear. And then if you're not aware on how to die, that's why you're very, this is what you're a good teacher. And if you know the steps of dying, you're just going to walk right through. Bhagwan was a very excellent teacher, but he knew this. He knew one thing. he can't do it for you. You have to face that yourself. And it is desirable above all else. I was shocked because I started going, yeah, I'm going to try this again. And then, because in this life, just like you in your life, we were forged, I was forged in hatred and fear. And that's what broke my connection with the all and the everything. So when you die, that's what's so compelling, that fear. It's like, I don't know what it's like. It's like, yeah, I want to do it again. But the instant you see that it's separate from you, then it's game over, right? So that's what everyone has to face. So all these people right now who are into their control mechanisms and stuff, and Bodhicitta, there's many of them. And so that's what they're going to face. And it's transitional. You know, at first you get introduced to this, oh, I've always been this, I get it. And it's really weird because at first it's like, oh my God, I just got the bonus of everything. And then you realize very shortly after, oh, this is the way it's always been. So it's not such a bonus, but it's magnificent beyond compare. Am I going too crazy here?
No, I love it. I'm just making you full screen so I can see you better.
Oh, okay. And so then at this point, you know, you'll move forward because you have an excellent teacher. I mean, and this is where I told you that night I woke up and I was laughing and the coyotes were going apeshit. And I was so grateful for everybody. I was so grateful that I knew Osho. I was so grateful I knew Paratosh, right? My grandparents. I was just overflowing with gratitude. And that's the cycle. You know, we have this wonderful experience, and then we're forged by fear and hate and anger, and that causes a separation. When it comes to that point, I'm not even concerned about you. I wasn't concerned about Glenn. I knew Glenn was going to make it. I didn't even have the doubt.
This is one of the profound, interesting things I've been looking into my whole life that's getting more intense now. Is the real communication amongst us creatures an energy communion? And then all words and gestures are frosting on the cake. Culturally determined stuff. But a hypocrite is somebody who puts on a different act than the communion actually is. An authentic person is one who lives the energy communion he has with you.
Okay, so let's talk about that hypocrite just for a second. So when that hypocrite dies, that's going to be what they face right there, and it's going to come in this package that is going to be is more tempting than a plate of jelly beans, right? It's going to whatever is tempting to you. You know, it's going to be so desirable, and they're going to fall prey to that experience because they don't have that pause. They don't have that stillness. You know, I remember watching Bhagwan in Discourse, and his words it was irrelevant. It was the space between those words and how it impacted everyone.
You know how they present this in the traditional Bardo teachings?
No, I do not.
You're talking about the sixth Bardo, the Bardo of becoming, where you choose your next birth. Mm-hmm. And in the traditional teachings, they have three metaphors. They say, you're seeking around, and if you see a place where people are warring, where there's combat going on, don't go there. But those are the people who are still stuck in anger and fear.
Oh, I see. I get it. Okay.
Then the traditional teaching, a busy marketplace where people are madly doing business and deals and transactions. Don't go there. That's all the people who are still hung up on greed.
Yep.
And then they talk about kind of a bucolic, idyllic scene where cows are grazing and there's clouds and a lake. Go there. And if you go there, you find a womb that suits you. Now, a more esoteric teaching that I've heard whispered to me by people like Swamiji is that you choose your parents for your next birth, depending on your karma, on what you need to go through in order to grow in that life. Whoa.
Okay, but you understand you're done, right? You don't choose it again. And what happens...
You mean me personally done, or what?
You. I'm talking about you. I can't help many people in this life. I can get a handful, right?
What makes you think there's a me?
That you're done?
No, that there's anybody to be done.
Okay. No, I understand that too. I get it.
I've been listening again to first the Heart Sutra, then the Sin Sin Ming, and now the Zen Manifesto, where he makes it crystal clear that there is no me.
Correct.
There never was a me. And of course, there's no me that transmigrates. That what goes from life to life is a bundle of thoughts.
Okay.
But there's no person who's that bundle of thoughts.
Okay, so this is what happened with me is when Doug was dead, and I started laughing because I got a real problem with that. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to look down. You're going to go, oh fuck, I never was that person. You're just going to start singing, man. You're going to belt out a song, and it's like that's the thing about knowing Bhagwan. We were really, think about it. We were really fortunate. I mean, we were so fortunate. I actually met Papaji. Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
I met Papaji, and I took a trip back to India, and this is after Bhagwan's death, but my lungs were so impacted with pneumonia that I decided I'd come home. I never even got to a discourse because I didn't want to infect the other people. So he's driving by in his car. He goes like this. He goes like this. And he starts laughing at me, just laughing, right? And then he drives away. I come home, and this was years later. We built a house on Vashon Island. I'm sleeping on the left, Samantha's sleeping on the right. And all of a sudden I look up and Papaji's working down at my belly button chakra. And he was not harming me. So I was totally okay with that. The next day, Samantha and I have a 3-day Satori simultaneously. Papaji is a tricky dude. He's a tricky dude, right? And then the next thing that happens is, of course, in 2015, Bhagwan shows up here and I write the story. And then I'm going, okay, what kind of trouble am I going to get into? Because a lot of the sannyasins knew Bhagwan was really, he was who he was, but he was also a little bit of a joker, right?
Sam, it's your turn.
I already did my part. It's the end of the world and I feel fine. I mean, that sums it up. What he said.
See, so I have to tell you a story about Doug and Sam, okay? And this is how we first met, right? She saw me in the hallway, but she was too young then. And she saw me in the hallway and she goes, "Are you Jesus?" or something like that, right? She was smitten, right? And then life went on. I went back to India and stuff like that. And then as soon as I turned legal, I swear to God, or she turned legal, she was at my doorstep. And she just moved in on me. Then we had a relationship. And then we're in this we were intimate. And then she starts falling. She says, "I'm falling." And I'm falling too. I mean, we're both falling like into this pit. And I just look at her. I said, "Does it hurt?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "Then enjoy it." Right? And then when I first saw her all those years ago, I said, "Oh my God, I know her. I know her." And that was the first thing we knew each other before, right? And so we do, Bodhicitta, we do everything together. It's like one of our friends, Michael McMaka, said, you guys are different. It's like, you're not Doug and Samantha, you're Doug and Sam. It's like it takes two of you to make one person. And we each have opposite talents, but yet we still have a steady theme, right? And so that's how we did. And then Paratosh, Paratosh was really fabulous. He goes, "Now listen, you're going to meet a woman that's going to be younger than you. You don't listen to what anyone says about that." and said and Paratosh was 80 and change, and he goes, my 17-year-old son is out in the ashram right now. And then he told me a little bit about what I would do. He told me a little bit how things would work out, and it's all worked out that way. You know, we're in a script, right? And, you know, it's like there's no room for holding on to anything. I mean, you're one of the people I was grateful to know. I was so grateful that I know you, right?
Jeremiah said to me 20 years ago, Osho, but one is as available today as not only an energy, but a moment-to-moment guiding intelligence.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I asked Jeremiah, 10 years ago, we were sitting up on the porch in Bageshwar, looking over the Himalayas, blue sky. I said, Swamiji, when you talk to me, how much is you? How much are you in the way and how much is Osho? And he said, Bodhicitta, it's all Osho. There's nobody here.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
And
you have to do this. You have to do this.
So I don't know how much Osho was using this costume called Bodhicitta to do his undescribable dance, or how much Bodhicitta is kidding himself into pretending that he's further along than he is. I don't know.
Okay, so
and what I'm coming to is that what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
That my particular nature is I have this amazing costume like a mirror. And everybody gets out of me what they project into me. I have no agenda of my own. It's always a response to whoever is there in whatever the situation is. That's my experience recently.
Okay, I do have a favor to ask you, though. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you die before me,
okay,
and stop by, because a lot of people stop by, believe me. If you sing your ass off until I fall out of that bed laughing. And then you get 10 points for that.
I really don't know in what form what continues after beings leave this body.
Okay.
I've heard so many different stories.
You know my story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I know my own experience.
Right.
And you know, as I've looked into all these different cultures and stuff, it seems to me that so much of what people experience is a movie in their own mind that's transmigrating.
Okay, I get that.
What else is out there?
Yeah.
I don't have any clarity about yet. I've heard lots of stories, but I just don't know.
So this friend of ours was a former commander of the Pacific Northwest Fleet, right? Way up there. I mean, okay. So I said, you know, and I'll just call him right now. I'll just call him T. I said, you know, T, I died. And he goes, would you tell me the story? And I said, absolutely. So I tell him the story, and he sits back as the commander that he was. I mean, this guy really is a commander, right? It's his persona. And he says, that's a true story. And I looked at him and said, T, how do you know? He goes, because I died. And that's what I saw. What happened to me is not unique. And then, you know, you go to neardeathexperience.org and you go to the exceptional stories. You know, I put mine in 2015. And then once I put mine in, or whenever I put it in, I can't remember when. And then people started coming out and they have similar stories. It's not unique. There's a common thread. Now
send me that website. I want to see.
I'm happy to. You'll just love it. But there's one thing I do want to tell you how this works. So when people die, And you know this from my story. They go back and their memory gets wiped and they have fragments, so it's unclear. I negotiated that, and people that know me really well go, yeah, you're the only one who would negotiate it, right?
Website is just NDERF.org.
I'll send you the link.
But it's some MDs, some doctors that are collecting all these stories and
And said, well, some scientists are getting a hold of this now, and so they're bringing this this mystery that was religion had its grip on. They're bringing it into the scientific realm. And he sits to me and goes, how can they do that? And I said, well, if you have enough anecdotal data, it becomes epidemiological evidence. And he goes, oh yeah. And it's true. You know that that's true. And if there's a constant theme of people that are from different places, different times, they all have this constant theme, there's got to be something to it. And that's where the investigation is now.
That's how I feel about all the creatures on the planet now.
Yeah. The interconnection?
Yes.
Yeah.
That because of what's happened to everybody's nervous system, it's like everybody is on some strange psychedelic.
Now we're all forced to take a break and everyone just goes, pooh. It's just like when you have post-traumatic stress disorder and then you put TED's cream on, it takes that hot nerve and resets it. That's what's happening. We're all getting a big reset now. That's the way I see it.
So we'll almost end the video, but for any of you who are interested in the TED's pain cream, there are some earlier videos under Dr. Andrew Ferber that will tell you about how to use TED's pain cream to let go of traumatic memories.